Okay. Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. Today we're going to be diving into a long-term review of the M3 MacBook Air. I've been using this computer for the past 6 months about, and I'm excited to share my thoughts. So let's get into it. Alright, let's talk about the design first. So the M3 MacBook Air follows the same redesign as the M2 MacBook Air with the overall thinner design. It's more of a flat and square. It's got the new MagSafe port and then the 2 USB-C ports. Over on this side, it's got the headphone jack. And other than that, just a few scratches. So I really like having the MagSafe port and the 2 USB-C or Thunderbolt 3 ports because it means I can charge the laptop and still have 2 peripherals plugged in at the same time without needing a dongle. And the MagSafe port allows fast charging from 0 to 50% in half an hour, so that can be a real game changer for some people. But you will need the bigger 67 watt charging brick in order to do the fast charging. This does not come with that standard. I had one because I used to have the M1 MacBook Pro, which did come with that standard. So the battery life on this thing is pretty unreal. I use the macOS betas for like the Apple Intelligence and all that, so those really tend to drain the battery a lot faster, and it's still a multi-day device for me. I regularly get, 48, 50 hours of battery time, which includes standby time. It's not like I'm using it for 50 hours straight, but when I only use it for 4 or 5 hours a day, plus the standby time, this ends up being a 2 to 3 day device most of the time for me, unless I'm working on like a pretty heavy video edit, in which case it becomes just an all-day device, which is still pretty incredible. I don't have to take the charger with me anywhere if I don't want to, as long as I have charged it recently. So I'm gonna go into I'm gonna go more in depth on a specific battery life review where I'm gonna test the low power mode and all that stuff. But for now, I just want to say that the battery life is phenomenal. So let's talk about performance. I have the 16 gigabyte of RAM version. That's the only one they sell now, so it doesn't even matter. It handles professional level video editing, which I know everyone hates when people just talk about video edits nonstop, but that's what I do. I'm a digital cinematography student at my school, which is not this school. It can do it no problem. If I'm doing some really intense effects on some like 4K or 8K footage or whatever, I might have to put it into better performance mode on Final Cut Pro, or I might have to use a proxy or whatever. If you don't already know that you need the power of a Pro or a Max chip, the base level M3 chip is gonna do just fine. It's really impressive how much this, ultra thin, fanless design, it's really impressive how much this can do. So let's talk about something a little bit surprising, the gaming performance of this computer. Macs aren't traditionally known for gaming, no matter what Apple says this week or the next week. But the M3 MacBook Air, being a fanless laptop, it actually handles it, surprisingly well. I've played games like Baldur's Gate. It does start to really struggle when you get into the third act. I haven't really been able to play the third act, but up to the end of the second act, it's playable, it's totally playable. First act, it actually runs phenomenal. And I think the M3 chip in particular has a big leg up because of the less heat that it generates during these gaming sessions. So, brings us right into the heat management. It's fanless, which means zero noise, which is great. But despite that, the fanless design, it can only dissipate heat through radiating it away or conducting it away or whatever. It's still really impressive, during long editing sessions. Anything where you can use the media engines on this thing or the, more specialized parts. I also mean like the AV1 decode engine, like all those specialized parts that just generate less heat overall. Here's a test of the webcam and the microphone. Let me know how you think it sounds. Here is voice isolation on the microphone. Does that sound any better? It does really, really well. And thanks to the 3nm architecture of the chip, I've never done anything CPU related that's made it thermally throttle. The only time I can really get it to truly throttle is when I'm doing like a long gaming session. And I mean like Baldur's Gate, like Minecraft will run all day, no problem. Bringing it back to the battery life, you could play Minecraft for probably 10 hours straight on this thing. I don't want to guarantee that claim. I'll maybe do a test of it at some point, but I'll play Minecraft for like an hour, 2 hours, and it'll drop like 8%.
Lonely boy.
So the display is very nice. It's more than sufficient for, most people's everyday use. I know the MacBook Pro has a brighter display and better speakers, and it's a high refresh rate display. But I'm gonna say, other than the high refresh rate, I don't think you're gonna notice a big difference. The speakers on this thing are perfectly adequate. And if you're doing any kind of professional audio workflow anyways, you need to be using studio monitors or at least a decent pair of headphones. Screen gets plenty bright. I do wish, obviously, it got brighter, but, even if I was on a MacBook Pro, I'd still wish the screen could get brighter. You will always wish that the screen could be brighter. So if you think you need the Pro's display and the ports and all that, unless you know that you need that stuff, you can probably get away with using the dongles. Yeah! And, if I ever need a really, really nice display, I can always just plug this into one. So quick note, I already went over the port selectivity, but let's just go over it really quick again. MagSafe, aux cord, and then your two Thunderbolt ports, or USB-C 4 ports, whatever you want to call them. I like having the MagSafe port, but I leave that charger at home because the only time I really need to fast charge or do anything like that is at home. Other than that, I really like that you can charge through these ports because it means I just have to carry one cord around for all my devices. My phone, my headphones, iPad, everything all charges off that, except I don't have USB-C headphones or USB-C phone or USB-C iPad because I can't afford any of that. But if I did have all those things, it would be great. I would get this all day over the base M3 MacBook Pro. I don't see why that computer ever existed. Overall, can't recommend this laptop enough. It works really, really well.